right. And we are live. Welcome to My Political Mind. Welcome, my fellow political minds. Tonight, you're going to get to know my political mind. And by that, I mean I am going to take the My Political Compass quiz test. They call it a test. Test. Yeah, it's a test. And the My Political Compass test is a decent gauge of where you fit on the political spectrum. Now, a lot of people like to talk about how there's this left and right, or for you, left and right spectrum. What people don't realize is that there is also an up and down spectrum, a vertical spectrum. There's a horizontal spectrum and a vertical spectrum. I will explain these later. For the time being, let's start the quiz. Let's get to know my political mind. So here we go. So, this is on politicalcompass.org/test. If anybody else wants to take the test to find out their political compass, I recommend doing so. At another time, I might do a video, or if I think I have the time tonight to do it, on the isidewith.com quiz. And what that does is that it puts all the candidates that are up for election in like their little box or whatever, and you go and you choose. You go down like every topic and you pick what you agree and what you don't agree with, and at the end it gives you who you would likely or who you should side with, because they share all of your views. Their policy goals are your policy goals. So I recommend taking the politicalcompass.org/test and also going to isidewith.com so that you can see what candidate you mostly align with. And let me know. Let me know what your results are. I'm interested in my community that I'm trying to build here, and interested in learning more about them, just as much as I would like for people to learn about me. So let's start the quiz or the test, whatever. Let's go one by one. All right, here we go. All right, before taking the test, please note that this isn't a survey, and these aren't questions. They're propositions. To question the logic of individual ones that irritate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme and some are moderate. That's how we can show you whether you lean towards extremism or or moderation on the compass. Your responses should not be overthought. Some of them are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinions on policy. So, I already realize I'm going to run into an issue. I'm going to try and answer these as quickly as possible, but I'm also going to try and I'm going to attempt to break down each topic and why I think that way, so that you can learn my political mind. Whoa. All right. All right, well, just a few propositions to start with concerning, no less, how you see the country and the world. Also, I would like to point out that if you are currently watching and you are a friend of mine on Facebook, please DM me if you have anything to say. If I get enough people during the live stream, I will add a chat box. But for now, I don't feel like doing it because there's not enough people. So I'm going to answer a friend real quick, and then we're going to get right to this quiz. Test. Okay. All right. On to the quiz. Now, just a few propositions to start with concerning, no less, how you see the country and the world. Ooh, how I see the country. All right. Let's see where they go with this. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I strongly agree with that. If economic globalization is inevitable, see, if it is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I don't see how anybody could disagree with that. Tell me your thoughts if you do. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. See, they try to get you with these questions. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. Well, no. Technically, if you vote for someone and their opponent wins, do you still support your country? I mean, I guess yes. You still support your country. You support your country no matter what. Or do you? Is this like policy driven? See, this is why it says don't overthink it. Like, is this like, if you agree with this policy or disagree with this policy, does that mean you don't support the country? I mean, it's all about the framing. So I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. I mean, no. See, this is why it says it is intentionally vague. So, but I'm gonna strongly disagree because I don't agree with like endless wars. I don't agree with attacking countries that haven't attacked us. I don't. So I don't support my country in that instance, but I still support my country. I don't know. I'm going to go with the soft agree on this one because no matter what, I support my country because I want it to do better than what it is currently doing. So I will always support my country in that regard. So I'm going to soft agree on that one. I think that's the right choice. See, you guys get to see my mind play out in real time. So here, oh, and just so you know, I'm going to predict that I am in the bottom left-hand corner of the compass. So watch out for that. I'll be right there around Gandhi. I've taken this before. It hasn't been long. My views haven't really changed at all, so we'll see. Let's go. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Foolish? I don't know about foolish. Soft disagree. I mean, you should be proud of where you came from, but you also shouldn't make that like the end all be all. It's a big planet, a lot of people in it, on it, on it. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Strongly disagree. What kind of question is that? First of all, who's answering strongly agree on that question? That's what I want to know. Are they keeping tabs on those people? we know the NSA is watching. We know they watching. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. If you are trying to get revenge on an enemy, and that is why you are befriending your enemy's enemy, then I think that's wrong. Revenge, well, it depends on the situation. Revenge shouldn't be in your first thought. Like your first thought should never be revenge. I don't think so. I've never been a revengeful. Is that might be a word? I've never been like a revengeful person. Like I don't hold grudges very well ever. I just don't care. Sorry, I just don't care. I care, but only if you love me. You know? That's all I care about. Just love me. Narcissistic, I guess. I have a YouTube channel. Of course I am. Alright. Anyway. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I honestly have no idea how to respond to this. There's no neutral button. So, because of the explanation that I gave earlier, I'm going to soft disagree. Like, I don't agree with, getting revenge on someone. Just, move on. But it also, depends. Like, if someone were to kill your sibling or your mom or dad, right in front of you, and then you, kill them immediately, I mean, that's getting revenge, right? Could anybody say that that person was wrong for doing that? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that would be a natural human reaction. So, I'm thinking way too much about this. So, I'm just going to move on. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I strongly disagree. That defies international law is sometimes justified. I guess I'm going to soft agree on that because sometimes if you're attacked, the rest of the world won't agree with it, with you responding. So, but the thing is, you were attacked. And as a nation, just like an individual, if you are attacked, you should be able to retaliate. Especially on a global scale, when it means so much. You attack our people, we will attack your people. I have no problem attacking people that actually attack us. My problem is us going into Iraq when we had no business being in Iraq, when Saudi Arabia was the one that funded the 9/11 terrorists, and they're the ones that took the towers down, and yet we're still buddy with Saudi Arabia. So, I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. Why are we still buddy? Why are we still allies with Saudi Arabia? They throw gays off the top, off of rooftops. Their women are second class there. It's because of the obvious answer, the oil and the geopolitical situation, and us basically keeping them free from Russian invasion, because or just like Russian takeover. So, but at the same time, Saudi Arabia commits so many human rights violations. I believe they are still committing a genocide on Yemen with our weapons that we provided them. So yeah. And this was after Donald Trump received hundreds of thousands of dollars at a Mar-a-Lago hotel as he kept Saudi princes there so that they could meet with him. And then next thing you know, he signs a weapons deal. So, just saying. A lot of people probably don't know that. But we'll get into Donald Trump later. And Joe Biden. Trust me. Joe Biden's not my president either. I mean, he's all of our presidents. So is Trump. But I'm just saying. You get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. I'm only on the first page, so we need to get this moving. All right. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Of information and entertainment. I'm gonna have to soft agree. I think people are using entertainment. I think some people, companies, industries, or organizations are using entertainment to push disinformation, which isn't good. Some political people are pushing disinformation with entertainment. It's not good, but we'll see if you agree or not. Maybe. All right, next up. Whoa. Sorry. I had to go and look at some stuff. All right. Page 2 of 6. Now, the economy. We're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. Ha 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 ha. Funny accountant joke or something. Nobody cares. God, I wish I could not do that. Okay. Let's keep going. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. Yes, strongly agree. We have a class conflict in the United States. People try to turn it into other things. It's not those other things. There's issues within classes also, but class is the number one thing. So we'll get into that later. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Controlling inflation. The only way to control inflation is to price fix, and I don't agree with price fixing. So, unless it comes to certain programs like Medicare for all and you just free college, other stuff, but again, we'll get into that later. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Is inflation more important than unemployment? No. No, because people need jobs. And jobs would help control the inflation. and you don't want to control jobs. Tricky question. So if you control inflation, you shouldn't be controlling either of these. So I strongly disagree. You shouldn't be controlling either of these. These should be natural things that happen within a market. So that's what I think about that. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Strongly agree. Sorry. The environment is important for all human life, and I'm a humanitarian first. That's just what I am. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. From each according to his ability to each according to his need. I think that's some communist-ish. Let's I'm pretty sure it's from Marx. Maybe not. Yeah, Karl Marx. His critique of the Gotha program. From each according to his ability to each according to his needs. What is the motto of communism? The political slogan, Workers of the World Unite, is one of the most famous rallying cries from the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, German. Proletariat aller Länder. I don't even know why I'm trying to say that. So yeah, that's some communist-ish. Fundamentally good idea. I'm trying to just break that down from each according to his ability to each according to his need. Fundamentally, would that not be a good idea? Does it work? I'm not sure. From each according to his ability to each according to his own. See, I had trouble thinking about this one the last time I took this quiz. I think I slightly agree, because what is your labor if not anything other than the worth of your needs? So you work in order to provide yourself of your needs, and you can only work to your ability, teach according to his needs. See, this is part of theory that I need to really read on. I really need to actually read Das Kapital, which is actually in my wish list to listen to. Hey man, you've got to listen to it all. That doesn't mean I'm going to come out a communist just for listening to it. Currently, not a communist. So, it doesn't mean I'm going to come out a communist either. But I also believe that you should believe in critiquing capitalism where capitalism needs to be critiqued. And from what I gather, that's what that is. It's just a critique of capitalism. And my understanding is that Karl Marx himself was a big capitalist, but he had critiques on capitalism. And you can call it socialism. You could maybe call it communism if that's the end goal. That's not my end goal, because I don't think communism would ever work, just like anarchism would never work. It's just you can't have people too constrained. You can't have people too free. You can have small government, and that all depends on what you mean by small government also. So my small government is different from other people's small governments. So we'll get to know a little bit more about that later on. The freer the market, the freer the people. I strongly disagree. So the reason for that is let's just talk about, like, I saw it on Joe Rogan's podcast one time talking about regulations. So the freer the market, the freer the people. But here's the thing. The reason why you have like construction regulations is that it keeps people's houses, or at least for the most part, from burning down randomly. That's the whole point. Now, you could say, well, that only affects that person. They can sue the builder of the house, and then that construction company would just go out of business. Well, why wouldn't you just put a regulation in place first? Because of the simple fact that if one house burns down and you're in a neighborhood, like let's say it's a 0 lot neighborhood, if that house burns down, it could very possibly, or catches fire, it could very possibly catch every other house in that whole community, in that whole neighborhood. It could just burn them all down because they didn't want to have the regulations in place. Those are good regulations in my opinion. Therefore, and if you die, if you're in that house fire, or if you're in a neighbor and a fire happens next to you, and then your house catches fire, and then you die, well then how free were you? How free were you? Like you were just laying in bed, sleeping. Neighbor's house caught on fire because there was no regulations in place, and then your house caught on fire and you burn. That's why we have these things. Like, they didn't just come out of the blue. Some of them, the ones that don't really make any sense, of course. So, but I won't go with the free of the market, the free of the people. I don't believe that, because the freer the market, the more you are susceptible to having, issues like the ones that I just explained. And to me, that doesn't make people freer. That makes people like live on edge, really. But I mean, we've gotten to this place within like markets and all that stuff for a reason. Like, we've gotten this far for a reason. And some people might think that it's because of, the government, New World Order, global conspiracy. Ooh, scary. Conspiracy. And then you read up on it and it turns out it's a bunch of BS. But anyway, let's move on, because I'm still only on page 2. So, all right. Oh, it's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. It's a sad reflection? No. Strongly disagree. I agree with consumerism. Yeah, I said it. That's not a sad. We were able to bottle water and distribute it, branded consumer product, but you could also send bottled water to communities around the world, third world communities, where they have no drinking water, and you send them a bunch of bottled water, and that's much better than any other water they would get. So without that aspect of it, you might not even have bottled water. Without the branded consumer part of it, you might not even have bottled water. So I think it's an overall good thing. The bad thing is all the plastic ending up in the ocean, all the plastic bottles ending up in the ocean. That's bad for the environment. So obviously that's the downside of it. So instead of eliminating bottled water altogether, maybe we should try figuring out a way to just get rid of the plastic bottles. without throwing them in the ocean. Next question. Land shouldn't be a commodity. Oh, land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. You know what? I am going to try and fix something here. Now that I'm looking at it. Oh, okay. I want to blow this up, but I don't think it's going to work. Nah. Well, it's not going to work. It's all right. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. So this is, are you an anarchist? Are you an anarchist communist? Or are you a moderate? Because, well, I don't do, well, anarcho-capitalists probably believe in the buying and selling of land, but they don't believe that the government should own the land before anybody else buys it. But the thing is, who owns the land? How do you declare who can get the land without the government? That's the thing about the government. That's why anarcho-capitalism is ridiculous. How do you distribute land without government? People used to fight wars over land, or battles, or tribes used to battle over land, have wars, beheading each other. And then we created a civil society, and we had a government that would say, okay, I understand. Everybody, chill out. We are all together going to buy this land. Okay? With taxes. Okay? We're all going to buy this land together. Now, what we're also going to do is when you want a piece of land, you can get it. If the people that vote in that district, in that area, in that state, in that county, in that city, if the people that vote say, hey, this piece of land is up for sale, well, then it is up for sale. But until then, everybody owns it. It's public property. Other than Area 51, you can't go there, or any of our naval or any of our military bases whatsoever, which, I mean, I understand. I'm just saying. And none of our conservation land and state parks, all that stuff. But that's because the people have overwhelmingly said, we want this land to be to be everyone's. Everyone should be able to see this. See our land. From sea to shining sea. Man, we're getting tongue-tied a lot. Anyway, moving on. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Disagree. Soft disagree. All right. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Strongly agree. Who disagrees with that? Who disagrees with that? Why are you okay with people manipulating money? Your money, our money, the workers' money. Why are people okay with that? It doesn't make sense to me. Sorry. Moving on. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Now, see, I'm on the fence about protectionism. I believe there might be a time and a place for protectionism, like during war or something. Honestly, I prefer globalization. but I want people in other countries to be treated properly, and I don't want our workers to have lower wages because they're having to compete with lower wages in other countries because those countries, like China, don't pay their workers what we pay our workers. That's why our businesses go to China. So protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I'm gonna soft agree on that one. Can't go hard on that one. I'm gonna say yes. It is sometimes necessary. Not definitely. Just yes. Just yes. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. No. I hope that was loud. The rich are too highly taxed. Okay, this is where you start learning me. Strongly disagree. A lot. A lot, a lot. But we can talk about taxes later. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Another strongly disagree. Like, why should your health care be tied to how much money you make? Why are we not civilized enough as a society to provide health care for everyone, like the proper health care that people need for everyone? Like, I don't understand treating healthcare, medical care as a commodity. It is a necessity. It is a necessity. And how free can you truly be if you don't have access to higher standards of medical care? And that's just access. This doesn't even say have a right to higher standards of health medical care. This just says access. The problem is access shouldn't even be a word that is considered or that should even be said in the same sentence as healthcare or medical care. Everybody should have access. Everybody does have access. But there's too many stories. It's something like 40,000 people die a year because they don't have access to basic medical care, to basic health care. They don't they don't catch things in time because they don't have access to basic health care. And that shouldn't be happening. People want to talk about being pro-life, but they don't want to talk about being pro-life, pro-healthcare for everyone. It boggles my mind. Moving on. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Well, yeah. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Strongly agree. All right, guys. I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker now. I don't know how long I've been on, but it's been a minute. Oh, hey, Megan. Nice to see you join the chat. Moving on. All right, now look at some of your personal social values. This is where the libertarian kicks in. Okay, here we go. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Right off the bat, they're trying to get me to lose half of America. Doesn't matter which half I choose, but they're trying to get me to lose half of America. When the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Strongly disagree because rape babies exist. That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that, okay? All right. All authority should be questioned. Absolutely. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I think we're a little more humane than that. Don't look at my drink. I'm don't sponsor. They don't sponsor me. You didn't see that. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. I disagree because I believe in culture, and I believe that culture is very important to any society. Thank you. So, wait. Strongly disagree. All right. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I disagree. You should go to school, and it should be compulsory. Required by law. Yeah. That's what I thought. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Oh. Wait. No, disagree. Should not make. Yeah. Disagree. The government should force your kids to go to school. Because if they don't, there's a higher likelihood of them becoming criminals and menaces of society. And society doesn't like that. So society says, send your kid to school. All right, all people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Strongly disagree. Like really? Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I think I've read enough on this to soft disagree. I don't think you should have to spank your child. Just don't. Think there's better ways to parent. Because what you're doing is teaching your child that violence solves issues. I guess it does solve some issues. Not all issues, but some. Let's go. See, this is. I think things out in person. I don't even know what I picked the last time on this one, to be honest with you. I think I said agree. I think I might have went through the same process. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I mean, natural? Yeah. I mean, kids be kids, yo. Possessing marijuana for personal use. I mean, I guess strongly agree on that, actually. It's natural. I mean, kids be kids. You can't force them to tell you their secrets. I mean, that's their secrets. It doesn't, you wanting them to tell you their secrets is you being selfish. But they should feel comfortable enough to be open to be open enough to tell you things, especially if something's, if something's wrong. So I'm just going to soft agree on that. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree. I don't see a problem with it. What's alcohol's worse, in my opinion. So, and that's legal. Ugh. Dang Dr. Pepper. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. That sounds like the prime function of schooling should be to turn your children into slaves. into into slaves. Should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. The prime function? No. 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 The prime function should be to give them an education and then for them to go out and seek the jobs that best suit them in life. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. What kind of human rights violation is that? The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. The most important thing? Strongly disagree. To accept discipline? What kind of discipline? Like, discipline can be different for different children, so it's kind of a messed up question. There are no savage or civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Strongly disagree. Wait, there are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna soft disagree on that one. There's no savage and civilized peoples. I think there are both savage and civilized peoples. And I think that there's different cultures that have savage and civilized peoples within them. I think there are some cultures that are completely civilized, and there are other cultures that are completely savage. So, I don't. It's a weird question. I just disagree, I guess. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly agree. If you're able to work, but you refuse to work, I'm going to soft agree on that because the humanitarian in me believes that people should be provided the basic human needs: food, shelter, healthcare. Outside of that, consumerism can be rampant, take off, bigger house, car, you know, good job, like all that stuff. Stereo system, TVs, computers, phones. Maybe provide a phone because it was a joke, the Obama phone, but it is almost pretty much impossible to have a job and not have a phone. Like, how else are you supposed to communicate with your boss? So, I agree with giving people phones so they can get jobs. That phone can't do anything other than what's necessary. But I believe that is better for society as a whole. I see that as a net gain. People having their basic needs met. People can call them, they can say that they feed off of the government or they feed off of the taxpayers or they feed. Fine. It's a very small number of people. I don't think a lot of people want to have the very basic needs of society. I think people want the things that everybody else has. So that's why they get jobs and that's why they strive to be better and strive to get better things. And I think that's a good culture to have. I think that gives people a reason to be, because they're like, hey, I live in a society that's granting me every opportunity in the world. Now it's my time to go out and make something of myself. And if I don't do that, well, then I'm a failure on society because I was already given everything that I could have. But I was given a free education. I was given health care. I was given a house. I was given food. I was given a phone to contact my job. If I don't do anything with that, then I deserve whatever I get. It's as simple as that. But providing people the basic necessities, I think, is great for society. I think it's better for the economy. I think it gives people something to live for, something to work for. I mean, I know they should work for their own shelter and blah blah blah. They should work for their own food, all this and that. But at the end of the day, I can't let somebody just die because they were born without motivation. Some people just lack it. So, if you're a pro-life person, you should agree with that concept. Just saying. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Strongly disagree. You should always tackle anything that troubles you. You should always take it head on. Trying to think of the word that I'm looking for. You should always, when you are troubled, it's better to not think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. See, I just strongly disagree with that. You should always take what you're given and make the best out of it. That's what you should do. Not keep busy with more cheerful things. Yeah. You should be able to self-reflect. You should want to identify your issues, self-reflect, and change what is needed that you believe needs to be changed. It's all up to you. But I don't think keeping busy with more cheerful things is a solution to the issue. If you're troubled, that means that you have a problem. If you have a problem, that means you need a solution. If you don't have if your solution is to just keep busy with more cheerful things and you are not taking on the issue at hand, that's going to build up and it is going to either drive you crazy. It's going to make you, it's going to make you snap. If it's an issue with someone else, it might make you snap and attack them without talking to them or just, whatever it is. So I don't think you just keep busy with cheerful things. I don't understand what that has to do with my political compass either, but I guess we'll figure it out. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Strongly disagree. Can never be fully integrated? What are you talking about? It's just a new country. It's just another piece of land. There's people there, but especially in America, I mean, you can find any type of community in America and go there to find your people. If you immigrated from a specific place, you can probably find Somalis somewhere or Irish community somewhere or Jewish community somewhere. It's all over the US. So to say you can't be fully integrated is ridiculous. A first generation, you could do it. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe a 70-year-old, 80-year-old first generation was first generation the firstborn. Either way, if you just came here or you were born in the United States, you could definitely be fully integrated within the country. I don't see why not. So, anyway, let's move on. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Strongly disagree. How could anybody agree with that? There's no way. There's no way there's people that agree. I mean, I'm sure there are, but there's no way. That doesn't make sense at all. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Broadcasting institution? So essentially, PBS should not receive funding, which I strongly disagree with. People in poor communities, a lot of people rely on the education parts of like PBS. Sometimes PBS literally raises kids, impoverished kids, impoverished children, and I think it is a public good. That's on an educational front. Also, I guess C-SPAN, we should be able to see what goes on in the courtrooms for free, publicly funded. So I think there's a few things. Now, what I don't believe in is like a state TV, like USA TV, the Trump TV, a Biden TV, whatever. No. No. We can have our press briefings, but not a state TV. Nope. That's called authoritarianism. Nope. Next. All right, 4 of 6. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Strongly agree. Everybody agrees with this, right? They should. A significant advantage. Wait, what is this? And how you see the wider society. All right. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that the left strongly disagree. There's no advantage to a one-party state. We need more than two-party. Like, we're terrible. It is a disadvantage that we have a duopoly, much less a one-party state. Like, geez, a monopoly. There should be no monopolic parties in the U.S. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Strongly disagree. They can watch you. They can see what you're doing. They can learn you. And if they can learn you, and they can learn your patterns, and they can learn how you talk or whatever. Learn how you work, how you walk, what you buy, when you buy it, why you buy it. If they can learn all that stuff, they can control you. They already control people. And the they is the NSA and the CIA and the government. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I had a discussion about this with my fiance the other day. I'm not going to give her viewpoint, but I will say there's a little number, and that little number is a really big number in my eyes. That number is 4. Specifically 4%. 4% of people on death row, I guess on average, are innocent. I do not believe the death penalty should be an option for that very reason. I cannot have my taxpayer money go towards the state killing possibly no, inevitably, definitely innocent people, innocent American citizens. I just can't do it. Morally, principally, I can't do it. Pro life. Man, pro life. Amazing. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. In a civilized society. Strongly disagree. You don't have to have that. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Nope. Art is in the eye of the beholder. Art is art, man. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. I actually strongly disagree. Faked you out. I think rehabilitation for people that haven't committed violent acts, or even if they've committed minor violent acts, or they were acting in self-defense, or if they committed a non-violent act, then our system should be to lean towards more a rehabilitation system than a punishment system. I think rehabilitation works better than punishment, especially for adults. And I believe it creates better members, more productive members also of society. So, in criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. I'm going to strongly disagree. But, like, if you kill somebody, like, straight up homicide, murder, obviously I think you deserve punishment. But nonviolent crimes, it is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. Some, I agree. It is a waste of time. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. What sells? Culture sells. Society sells. Stories sell. You've got to have the writer and the artist to have the business person and the manufacturer. So I strongly disagree. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I disagree. Strongly disagree. Hold on 1 second. What? Nice. High five. I know. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that. Next question. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Yeah. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. I'm a rebel. That's going to be a little inside joke. Here we go. All right, second to last. I have food waiting on me. So after this, I'm going to take a little break and then I'm going to come back. So let's keep going. Astrology accurately explains many things. No, it doesn't. You cannot be moral. Wait, what is this? If you got through that okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. Here's where people get to know me. All right. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. We had charity before we had Social Security. Charity didn't work, so we created Social Security. So strongly disagree. Some people are naturally now. Charity is good. Charity is still good. People should still be charitable, but it's not good enough. Sorry. Some people are naturally unlucky. I strongly agree. I mean, this is how it is. That my child's school instills religious values. Strongly disagree. Schools there's no place for religion in school. Just education. Just learn. I don't want anybody's religion in school. I don't think anybody should want anybody's religion in school. Do that at home. And for the love of God, or Allah, or Vishnu, or whoever, please keep it at home. Finally, a look at sex. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly disagree. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly agree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Soft agree. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Strongly disagree. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Strongly disagree. Now let's see where you stand. I should be in the bottom left-hand corner. So, like I was talking about earlier, you have the left of the political spectrum and you have the right of the political spectrum. You also have the up and down. The left to right is the economic scale. The top to bottom is the authoritarian to libertarian scale. Let's see where I fit. I bet I'm somewhere in this area with Gandhi. Yeah, get on my level. Let's go. I would read all this, but it's you can read it on your own. So let's find out. Whoa! I dropped some. I was over here. I think I've been radicalized. Something changed. Don't know what it is. But I'd rather be anywhere in this square than anywhere in any of these. And maybe a little bit over here. Maybe like right here. But I'd rather be here than anywhere else. So, that is the, well, let's see here. Economic left, right. I am minus 7.5 left. Social libertarian, authoritarian. I am minus 6.15 libertarian. So I'm plus 6.15 libertarian. I am minus 6.15 authoritarian. I really don't like the authority. I like liberty. I'm also socially left instead of a fascist. Anyway, so that is the my political compass test. I hope you got to know me a little better. And I'm going to take a small break. If you liked what you just saw, please like and subscribe to My Political Mind. Break time. All right, people. I'm back. So, you've got to find out a little bit about me and my political compass, at least. Now, the quiz or test itself, I keep saying quiz, but the test itself isn't really the best metric for everybody, but I request for people watching this to at least go and check it out and let me know where you fall on the spectrum. I think that would be interesting, and I would love to have conversations about your political mind and my political mind. So, we're going to move on now. The next segment is going to be about the election that just happened, the 2020 election. The presumed winner being Joe Biden and his vice president, Kamala Harris. It is Kamala. Some people say Kamala, but it is Kamala. Her mother's name was Shamala, I believe. So Kamala, Shamala. I mean, it makes sense. Kamala. I don't know why people can't seem to get that right. Or they purposefully get it wrong, which I don't know if that's a bad thing. It might be. It could be. But, So, first thing I want to talk about in regards to the election is something that I shared. Oh, wait. What is going on over here? Huh. I just realized what just happened. Why is it like that? That's better. What in the world? I guess it kept it from the other scene. It's weird. I look kind of orangish. The light. Just the lighting. From this angle. I don't know. Whatever. All right. So, I came across a Twitter thread, and I wanted to show it people. I know this is going to be kind of, it might be kind of boring for some people, but these are talking points that some people need to learn in order to face their opposition. But there's also people that need to learn it because they're out of their minds. I'll explain. So this is called, all right, y'all, election fraud debunking mega thread. This is by Isaac Saul. I retweeted this so I could save this for this stream. I started following Isaac Saul because of this breakdown, and I want to. Apparently, this is getting regular updates, so I'd love to see that. But we are going to start with this crazy notion that there's been massive fraud, election fraud, all around the country. And going through all of this earlier, it's like, oh, I mean, I already knew it was all a bunch of BS, but some people don't. Some people need to be taught, need to be shown the light. So if you're one of those people, this is for you. If you're not one of those people and you know that the election with the fraud stuff is BS, then just enjoy the show and learn these talking points, because you probably will need them for the next 4 years. So here we go. All right, y'all. Election fraud debunking mega thread. I'm following claims of fraud and looking into them. I think I've solved most now. Nothing is holding up under any scrutiny so far, so I'm making a thread to track in one place. Please retweet. I did my duty. I liked it too. By far the most viral of these claims is the video of officials in Detroit boarding up the windows inside their polling center in Michigan. This, admittedly, was a bizarre sight, but was 100% explainable and was the right thing to do. Officials rightly blocked the windows when crowds came inside and began trying to film ballots. Poll watchers exceeded the limit inside. This is not legal. You can't barge in and film who people voted for. Of course, there were 103 I guess I don't know what that starts for. Oh. Of course, there were 134 Republican poll watchers inside the room. There were also 134 Democrats and 134 independents. That's because every election/polling place has a balanced and assigned number of watchers present at polling locations. Here's the local story explaining it. You can click on that, or you can click on it later. I'm not going to do it now, but here you go. There's one instance. Similarly, there have been lots of stories of Republican, quote-unquote, Republican poll watchers not being allowed into polling places. This is all silly and worth remembering this Detroit story. Being a poll watcher does not mean you can just walk into any polling station. You can't just be a random person walking into a polling station and looking at people's ballots. You can't do that. You are not a poll watcher. Moving on. There's a process to ensure an even number of partisan watchers are signed up, like in Detroit, and inside polling places. Election officials don't, and shouldn't, allow any old swarm of watchers into their polling place. That would ruin the balance of the watchers. Do you see yet? Maybe you will eventually. It appears some certified Trump-supporting poll watchers filmed themselves trying to enter polling places, and when denied, made a scene. That's how the system is supposed to work. Any election official can explain this, assuming they're certified. Still stupid. Next. One of the most popular of these claims is a video purporting to show a 118-year-old named William Bradley who voted despite dying in 1984. I'm going to share video of a viral tweet so you can see it, then explain what's happening. So let's click on this tweet real quick. Turns out 118-year-old William Bradley voted via absentee ballot in Wayne County, Michigan. William Bradley died in 1984. How long has this been going on? Oh, let's spread doubt. Let's spread doubt on the election process. Let's see here. Yes. Next. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yep. Absentee ballot. Yep. Application received 9/11/2020. Ballot sent 9/19/2020. Ballot received 10/2/2020. Okay. Election date. View details. Online death records. William Bradley. Birth 4th of March 1902. Dead 1st of June 1984. Now remember this 1902 part. You will see what the issue is with this. Michigan's Secretary of State already responded to this claim, pointing out that ballots of voters who have died are rejected outright. So this bizarre scene, even if it were real, would never count in a Michigan election. SOS statement here. Did a dead 118-year-old man vote absentee in Michigan? State says no. In Michigan, this is even true if someone dies between the time they sent in their ballot and election day. So your vote doesn't even count if you sent your ballot in and then you died. But people want to claim that there's fraud in Michigan. Whatever. How much does that suck? The idea someone who died in 1984 would have their ballot counted is absurd. True. Alternatively, it's also possible William Bradley is real and his birthday is simply wrong in the Michigan voter website. Instead of 1902, he could have been born in 1992. A one-digit typo. This happens all the time. A clerk will be checking the ballot and registration records. It's also true, as election expert at Elect Project pointed out, that some states use 1900 or 1/1/1 as codes when they moved from paper to electronic records to signify a birthday wasn't available. Something like that could be at play here. Many election management systems use 1900 as a missing data code for records that had no discernible birth date when the state transitioned their paper records into an electronic system. So, that's understandable. They try to throw in that date. So they're like, obviously a 120-year-old didn't vote. This vote doesn't count. And guess what? That vote ends up not counting. No fraud. 13. Regardless, if this person is actually dead, their vote won't count. If the birthday is entered wrong, it will be resolved by a local clerk when the vote is audited. The video is real. The voter fraud claim is fake. Trump is losing Michigan by 150,000 votes. Next. The other popular one is the 130,000 votes in Michigan that Biden got all at once. This was a data uploading error on election desk headquarters. The conservative who originally posted this conspiracy apologized and deleted his tweet, but it took off before he could stop it. Of course, because that's how social media works. You know, the whole lie makes it around the world twice before truth gets its pants on. Yeah, that happened here. Even though the original guy to tweet it retracted, story has blown up. Local paper wrote it up here. Next, some people allege that Wisconsin had more votes than registered voters. Proof of election fraud. Now this one is funny. This one is truly funny because it shows how stupid some people are. This was, amazingly, idiots unaware that Wisconsin has same-day voter registration. Incredible voter fraud fail, but it went viral. Here's the story. Fact check. People, please research. Next. Relatedly, many conservative commentators have mixed up eligible votes, total people who can vote, and registered voters, registrations, including Wall Street Journal's Kim Strassel. Strassel? This caused serious confusion. Tim Alberta rightly calls Strassel out here. It's only not feasible, quote, not feasible, if you A, don't know Wisconsin politics, B, don't know the difference between eligible voters and registered voters, and C, don't know how mail voting and same-day registration spiked turnout, or D, don't know the counties turning out 90% plus are the deepest red. Amazing. The left has also been guilty. Yes, you libs, viral post about 300,000 ballots going missing were totally misleading and untrue. Vice reporter Aaron Gordon is incredible on the USPS beat. You can follow him here. Totally misleading. Why the post office's last minute ballot crisis isn't as dire as it seems. That's from Vice.com. You can look it up later or on your own. Man's only got so much time. Here we go. Next. Many on the right were thrown off when they went to bed at 2 a.m. with Trump well positioned in the Midwest and woke up at 6 a.m. with Trump headed for defeat in Wisconsin. Quickly, allegations spread of Dems finding 100,000 absentee ballots. That's nonsense. Okay, so before the election even started, I mentioned this weeks in advance, and the only reason I knew about it is because other people knew about it, and that was the fact that the Democratic vote wasn't a lot of it wasn't going to come in until after Election Day, because so many states and Republicans set this up in several states, I think for bad reasons, that and this is something that we need to fix. We obviously need to fix this so that we wouldn't have this issue. But Republicans made this happen. So I don't even. In one state they did. In other states it was already a thing. But that is the fact that mail-in votes aren't counted in many states until after polls have closed on Election Day. Meaning they could have got those mail-in ballots a month or two in advance. They weren't counting them until after the polls were closed on Election Day. This is why many people were talking about what was called the Red Mirage. The reason they were calling it the Red Mirage is because they knew that Republicans, for one, throughout history have always voted more in person than through the mail, where Democrats vote more than Republicans through mail than in person. But also, I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. I lost my train of thought. Hold on. Okay. So, this is where I wish I had a chat, because when you have a chat, people can be like, oh yeah, you were talking about this. So anyway, we were talking about the Red Mirage. So people thought, oh, Donald Trump, even some people on the left that even knew that the Red Mirage was going to be a thing, were still freaking out. Because on Tuesday night, on election night, we saw the Red Mirage. We saw Trump everywhere. And lefties were just like, oh my God. And I had to tell some people, stop, chill out. If you're that worried about it, chill out. Wait for the mail-in votes to start coming in, because they heavily favor Joe Biden and Democrats in general. Or at least we thought it was Democrats in general. When we get to that. But definitely favored Joe Biden. So, actually, I'm not going to wait to get to that. I'm going to do a little side jump here and just say that if Democrats had rigged the election, I don't think they would have purposely lost House seats. And I don't think they would have purposely probably not taken over the Senate. I think they would have tried to get the Senate and the House if they were committing fraud. I think 75 million Americans just really didn't like Donald Trump. Much like the flip of 2016, where many Americans just didn't like Hillary Clinton. But gonna move away from that. Okay, so many on the right were thrown off when they went to bed at 2 a.m. with Trump well positioned in the Midwest and woke up at 6 a.m. with Trump headed for defeat in Wisconsin. Quickly, allegations spread of Dems finding 100,000 absentee ballots. That's nonsense because they weren't found. They were mail-in ballots that were starting to be counted because the polls had closed. So they started counting mail-in ballots. So the jump occurred after the city of Milwaukee, heavily Democratic, reported its first wave of absentee ballots results extra Democratic. When they came in, Biden's number spiked more than 100,000. The votes were reported together because Milwaukee has a central count location. That means they don't get reported from the polling place. I watched live on CNN as election officials were escorted from the polling place to the count location to drop off ballots, then watch the numbers come in. It was pretty cool. Story here. 22. Similarly, similarly, posts went viral about a pause and dump in Milwaukee where ballots were found. This is a lie. Counting never stopped. The count was done, and the pause was the time it took to get them from the polling place to the central counting location. Next. Team Trump. Team Trump has always been at work. In Nevada, they dragged out an elderly blind woman who said her ballot was taken in the mail and she couldn't vote. This seemed like an isolated incident. Here's a vid they shared. We're not going to watch it. But hold on to your hats. Funny thing about her, election officials looked into her case and she had actually submitted 2 ballots with matching signatures. Seems like she actually voted twice, which is, ironically, illegal. Trump supporter. Some conspiracies are being spread by mainstream outlets. New York Post alleged that Pittsburgh election staff took the day off with 35,000 votes to go. This is true in the most literal sense, but totally misleading. The counting was paused in Allegheny, because they cannot legally count remaining ballots there without the convening of a special committee that comes together tomorrow. Those votes are unlikely to be the difference anyway. Biden will win by a healthy margin in Pennsylvania. Next. As you might expect, Project Veritas is at it too. Of course they are. They are claiming to have a USPS whistleblower who says late mail-in ballots were being postmarked inaccurately and sent so they'd make the deadline for Election Day. This case is interesting and open for debate. The allegations themselves are very small scale from one location in Michigan, and the whistleblower is totally anonymous, even his voice. Project Veritas is known for partisan shenanigans and claims a special agent with the Office of Inspector General at USPS is investing the claims. If that's true, we'll know for sure soon what happened. My guess is we don't hear much more about this case of fraud because I'm not at all convinced USPS is actually investigating it. But hey, Project Veritas hits the mark sometimes, so we'll see. Next, Michelle Malkin, the conservative pundit who has been exiled from some Trump circles for her fringe views, claimed to have Michigan poll observer Matthew Seeley describe how GOP watchdogs were not allowed to enter a location. Same story as Detroit, but this one is funnier. Seeley is not just a poll watcher, he's also a Trump-loving political operative who claimed the squad was proof we have forgotten 9/11 last year. Here's a 2019 story on him if you want a laugh/cry. Yep. So, that's the end of that thread. So, are you starting to see this? Are you starting to come to terms with reality yet? I mean, I don't want Joe Biden for president. I also didn't want Trump for president. But one of them has to be president. And I don't see any real fraud going on. It's all just a bunch of fakeness. Fake news. The people that say those words spread the most fake news of them all. I swear. But anyway. So. Let's break it down. Okay, so election fraud, not a thing. Okay, Joe Biden is a president-elect. People I've seen talk about how Al Gore thought he was president for 37 days, but ended up not being president. What? Due to a recount in one state, Florida, where there were literally, I believe it was just a few hundred votes, vote differential between Bush and Gore. Notably, at the same time, the governor of Florida was none other than George H.W. Bush's please don't clap brother, Jeb Bush. Or please clap. Man, I messed that up. That was going to be good. None other than George H.W. Bush's brother, please clap Jeb. Still said it wrong. Please clap Jeb. Anyway, he was a brother, or he was the governor of Florida, and they called for a recount in Florida after Gore had won by a few hundred or a few thousand votes. It was very small. And then after the recount, George H.W. Bush was the winner. Okay. There was no fraud there. No fraud at all. Nope. None at all. Now, would the world have been a better place if Al Gore were president? There's no telling. A lot of people would say no. They don't know. Do you live in an alternate universe where Al Gore was president? No. You don't. So, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So, Joe Biden, president-elect. The oldest president to ever be elected. The oldest candidate to ever be elected as president. He will be the oldest president. Kamala Harris, the first Asian American, Jamaican American. I think it's Jamaican and Asian and Indian. To reach the high office. First woman of color. Sometimes, in order to make real progress, you have to see progress. And in my opinion, seeing Trump was seeing the opposite of progress. It was seeing old wounds spread wide open. And maybe that's something that our country needed for 4 years. Maybe that's something that woke people up. But the thing is, Donald Trump actually outperformed his 2016 numbers, which means he gained voters. And where he gained voters is kind of crazy. And that's the next thing that I wanted to talk about regarding this election. And that is the the New York Times exit polls from this election. So let's go to that. All right, let's see who voted for who. All right, so men, by an 8-point difference, voted more for Donald Trump than they did Joe Biden. Men made up 48% of all voters, or males. All right, before anybody says anything about, oh, there's only two genders. No, that's two sexes, okay? Two sexes. Not genders, two sexes. There's a difference. Okay? Okay. Anyway, not going to get into that right now. So, 8-point difference between the male vote between Donald Trump and Joseph R. Biden. Females, overwhelmingly, by 15 points, voted for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. Whoa. I think a little bit of white male fragility is going to be happening here soon. Story for another day. Video for another day. Story, whatever. What is your racial or ethnic heritage? Oh, here we go. 58% of white people were of the voters that voted for Trump. Or of the voters voted for Trump. 41% voted for Biden. 12% voted for Donald Trump. Black people voted for Donald Trump. 87% of blacks voted for Joseph R. Biden. That is actually a gain. Trump won 8% of the black vote in 2016, gained 4%. There were also gains for Donald Trump in the Hispanic Latino community. Donald Trump got 32% of Latinos, Hispanics. Biden got 65%. Biden still got the majority, but that number went down dramatically. Asian people, 61. Asian people, I don't know. Is what I'm saying politically? I don't even know. I don't care. We'll see what happens. 61% of Asians voted for Joseph R. Biden. 34% voted for Donald Trump. And other 55 to 41 Joe Biden. Let's look at the age demographics. The youth turnout came out for Joe Biden. 60% to 36%. The millennial voters came out for Joe Biden, beating Trump 52 to 46. And that's a narrow edge. 45 to 64. The boomers almost tied with Trump having a 1-point difference lead, having a 1-point lead, 50 to 49. And you're 65 and older, surprisingly, was still kind of close, but Trump got 52% of the vote, and Joe got 47%. Level of education. College graduate, 55% voted for Joe Biden, 43% voted for Donald Trump. No college degree, 50% voted for Trump, 48% voted for Joe Biden. So that means no college degree white males voted for Donald Trump heavily. Are you currently married? I don't know what that has to do with anything. Are you gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender? Trump, much to my surprise, won 27% of the LGBTQ vote. 27%. Or at least 27% says, yes, they are one of those things. Joe Biden only got 64%. Whoa. That's something that the Democrats are going to have to fix if they want to survive. Do you have any children under 18 living in your home? I don't know what that has to do with anything. Are you a white evangelical or white born again Christian? Of course. Heavily 76% for Donald Trump, 24% for Joe Biden. All others, I guess, non-white evangelical or born again Christians, non-white. 62% for Joe Biden, 36% for Donald Trump. I infer that's what that means. What was your total family income in 2019? Under 50,000, heavily favored Joe Biden. 50,000 to 99,999, heavily favored Joe Biden. 100,000 or more, heavily favored Donald Trump. Interesting. Compared to 4 years ago, is your family's financial situation better? 72% said, wait, how do you even... Okay, it's weird how they did this. I'm just going to move on from that. Do you work full time for pay? Yes. No. Biden winning the slackers over. It's a joke. But is it? You'll never know. Maybe you do. Maybe you won't. Maybe you will. Does anyone in your household belong to a labor union? Of course Biden won that one. Have you ever served in the military? Yes. Trump got 54% of that vote. Not shocking there. Is this the first year you have ever voted? Biden, 64. That's that youth vote turnout. On most political matters, do you consider yourself liberal? 89% Joe Biden. Moderate? 64% Joe Biden. Conservative? 85% Donald Trump. No surprises there. No matter how you voted today, do you usually think of yourself as a Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever? In which part of the country do you live? What kind of place do you live in? Are you white or non-white? What is your What is your gender and racial or ethnic heritage? God! Yeah. Biden definitely has a much wider coalition, much more diverse coalition of people, of voters. Other than white women, more women came out for Joe Biden. Like, way more women came out for Joe Biden than Donald Trump. So this is the black women vote that really came out hard for Joe Biden. What is your race? And that's just true. There are so many black strong black women activists in cities all over this country that put in the work to get people registered to vote, and it paid off. It's what they were looking for. But they knew that they had to get rid of Trump in order to have any chance moving forward. Or at least they think that way. That's what they think. It's not what I think. It's not what I think. Which one of these 5 issues mattered most in deciding how you voted? All right. Racial inequality, 92%. Joe Biden. That's kind of crazy. Hold on. 20% of voters. All right. So the highest one was 35% mattered the most was the economy. 83% of people that said that the economy mattered most to them voted for Donald Trump. Racial inequality was the second one on this list, and 92% of voters that said that that mattered most to them went to Joe Biden. Next up, we have the coronavirus pandemic. At 81%, Joe Biden. People trusted him more with that. Crime and safety. People trust Trump. That was 4th on their list of what they care about. And healthcare policy was Joe Biden was favored on healthcare policy. So my issue with this isn't necessary. Like, if you would have told me this was the exit poll before it happened, I would have completely believed you. My issue with this is that I don't see climate change anywhere on here. Where's climate change? That's the number one issue. That's what affects all of this. Even racial inequality. Yep. Climate change is racist. Said it here, folks. You heard it here first. Climate change is racist. Which one of these 4 candidate qualities mattered most in deciding how you voted for president? Can unite the country. 75% Joe Biden. People really believe he can unite the country. 72% says Donald Trump is a strong leader. And that is what people care about the most, is if the president's a strong leader. You know what, though? You know what? Having a strong leader is fine. When they're not a fake strong leader. When they're not using the government to send out tear gas to peaceful protesters and removing peaceful protesters so you can have a photo op at a church. Being a strong leader is fine. Until you're playing strong leader like you're Kim Jong-un with your military parades. Your firework displays and your open threats on Twitter to other nations. That's being a fake strongman. You're fake. Yeah, you're a strong leader, but you can't unite the country behind a singular message on the pandemic. Yep, strong leader. But that's not what Joe Biden voters cared about. And they cared about people like them. They think Joe Biden has good judgment compared to Trump. And that's that. Next. Which is more important in your vote for president today? My candidate's positions on the issues. Well, that's obviously an issue for the Democrats. They need to pick that up. My candidate's personal qualities. People really did not like Trump. That's what this all boils down to. It's not that Joe Biden had a message, because he didn't. It's not that Joe Biden has a solution. He doesn't. And he won't. But it said he's not Donald Trump. It's because he didn't mishandle a pandemic. That's why Democrats lost seats in the House. That's why they won't take the majority in the Senate, most likely. But at the same time, that's why Biden won. Or that's how Biden won. Biden wasn't Trump. People would prefer a sleepy president over a chaotic one. At least 5 million people. Once California and New York are done being tallied up and all the votes are done being tallied up, Joe Biden will probably have a 5-point national lead, which he was projected to win the national vote by like 8 or 9 points. So I believe that's still outside of the margin of error. So Donald Trump definitely overperformed and Joe Biden underperformed. But that's what happens when you don't have a message. But you just happen to be lucky to not be Donald Trump. So for anybody that thought I was happy about a Joe Biden victory, you're mistaken for the most part. I did want Trump gone so that we could beat up on Joe Biden on policy. I wanted fascism gone so that we could maybe do something with corporatism. Had to get rid of the fascists first, folks. We'll go into how that's all a thing later. Right now, I'm going to continue with these exit polls. Who would better handle the economy? 49% of voters that voted for Joe Biden. Wait. This is almost an even split. I don't understand some of it. I don't know if I'm just tired. If I've been streaming too long. Who would better handle the economy? 49% of voters say 96% of 49% of voters say Joe Biden. I think that's what that's saying. I'm pretty sure that's what that's saying. I'm going to move on. Which is more important, containing the coronavirus now, even if it hurts the economy? Rebuilding the economy now, even if it hurts efforts to contain the coronavirus? This is what people need to get in their head. And this is basically 50-50 split. Trump supporters need to get in their heads. Trumpist, Republicans, conservatives, whatever you are on the right. The economy won't be healthy until the nation is healthy. Until the pandemic. Until we do something about the pandemic. Until the pandemic has subsided. The economy is going to be like this. But we have to take action to take control of the virus. If you don't have control of the virus, you're not going to have an economy. You're just not. Even people wearing masks and having everything open, that's dramatically more effective than, having loose mask mandates or loose mask laws. Because more people are going to die. That means people will no longer be filling jobs up. That means people will be dead and can't be consumers. That means businesses have to shut down because someone tested positive for coronavirus in their shop or their department or their business, whatever. So take care of the virus first, and that will help the economy on its own. It's not difficult. Do you think Donald Trump has the temperament to serve effectively as president? Absolutely not. All right. Do you think Joe Biden has the. Oh, wait. That wasn't a question for me. That wasn't a question for me. Do you think Donald Trump has a temperament to serve effectively as president? Of course, it's a split. Do you think Joe Biden has a temperament to serve? Joe Biden has a temperament to serve. Of course, it's split. Does Donald Trump have the physical and mental health needed to serve effectively? This is going to be split. That's going to be split. Was your vote for president mainly for your candidate against your opponent? And see, there it is. Mostly against the opponent. But a lot of people actually did vote for Joe Biden, or at least some people. Less than half of his voters voted for him. Anyway, this is the New York Times exit polls. And it's very interesting. I mean, most of it is pretty known. We know the demographics. But what was surprising was the pickup in the Latino Hispanic vote for Trump and the pickup in the black vote for Trump. But Joe Biden won over older suburban folks. What is this? Go away. What in the world? Yeah. So, those are the exit polls. What this means depends on who you voted for, which party you support. What's next is, I don't know. I can't while you're in here. Sorry. You're just like making noise and stuff. Okay. You're gonna listen to me? Okay. Anyway. Now is the time for our country to heal and to really get to learn each other. Have talks with each other. Civil talks. Be understanding of one another. Don't hate because somebody doesn't have the same viewpoints as you. Don't hate that person. Wish better for them. Just be civil. Well, that's all I ask. That's all I want. I want to have civil discourse. I want to talk about these things. You know, I've had chat open this whole time, waiting. But as I continue doing these videos, I'm hoping that we have some talks. But until then, if you liked what you see, if you liked what you saw, if you like what you hear, if you just want to talk, I'm here to talk. Maybe I might be able to respond to your comments. Depends on how many I get. But for the time being, I can respond. We can talk. You can make suggestions if you want to hear some topics. Hear me talk about some things, some specific issues. So please like, subscribe, comment, click the little bell thingy that gives you a notification when I post a video. But no matter what. Just be cool. Be good. Be proud. Be you. Be honest. Don't troll just to troll. I mean, you can troll just to troll, but I mean, just, have some of your own thoughts. For once. And then come talk to me. Or if you disagree with something that I said, let me know. I'm not afraid to talk. I'm not afraid to engage. I'm not afraid to debate. I'm not really good at debating because I haven't done it a lot, but I'll do it. Let's go. I'm here for it. But anyway, I'm David. This is my political mind. I hope you got to learn a little bit about my political mind. And I hope to learn some about yours as my community grows. Until next time, love you guys. Peace out. In that stream. Oh wait, I can't end a stream yet because I've got to make fun of Trump supporters. Here we go. I've got to do it. I got to do it once. Of certain, not all Trump supporters, but these Trump supporters in particular. I've got to find the video. So this is hilarious to me. You have two groups of people, both Trump supporters, in two different places in the U.S. One is saying count the vote. The other is saying stop the count. The difference between the two is that in a state where Trump was losing, they were saying count the vote. In a state where Trump was winning, they were saying stop the count. I'm sorry. That's just funny. There's people like this on both sides, but that's just funny to me. I couldn't go without sharing that. I wish there was a more of a back-to-back one, because that one's even more hilarious. I bet they got it on YouTube. Let's see here.
I was at school. The principal told me that.
I don't want.
The vote! The vote! Count the vote! The vote!
Count. Stop the votes. Counting of the count votes. Count the stop votes. Count the votes. Stop. Count the votes. Recount. Recount the votes. Recount them. Recount. Stop it.
Count